Hello everyone and welcome to today's video. If you read the title, you will know that in today's video, I am doing a Mulan screenshot redraw. So the idea behind this video is honestly like super simple. I just took the screenshot of Mulan and I am redrawing it. There is no reasoning behind this video except for the fact that I wanted to redraw a screenshot for something and I love the movie Mulan. If you're looking for something fun to draw, but at the same time you want to be able to improve your skills as an artist, I would definitely recommend screenshot or screen cap redraws. This is because, at least for me, once again, I find it super fun to draw art of something I care about, but also, I am very inexperienced when it comes to drawing backgrounds or my characters just in some sort of environment. Where in movies or TV shows, characters are almost always in some sort of environment or have some sort of background. It gives you a chance to practice backgrounds and just experiment with a more complicated environment. Now, the screenshot that I ended up choosing, which I'll put up on the screen, isn't actually that complicated of a background, but it's still better than nothing and gives me the opportunity to practice while still having fun. But yeah, so I'm gonna get started on the SpeedPaint right away, but if you want, feel free to grab your drawing tablet or a sketchbook and draw along with me while I show you off my process. Without further ado, let's get into the SpeedPaint. I actually started off just by grabbing a bunch of random Mulan references on Pinterest and then just deciding from there which ones I wanted to redraw. To help determine which ones I wanted to draw, I did a very quick sketch of both of them so that I could figure out which one I was more interested in doing. As you can see in the corner, the two I had chosen between was one of Mulan sitting in her garden with the cherry blossom tree and one of her in this almost like fighting stance. I ended up going with the fighting stance one, and that's just because even though the cherry blossom one definitely looked prettier, I thought this would be more interesting to do because of her expression. I also think this is a lot more representative of the character Mulan, and I thought it would just be super cool to draw her with her sword and ready to battle someone. So I first started by just quickly scribbling down a silhouette of her pose, and now I'm going through and refining the sketch and putting in the details so that it'll be easier to do the line art later on. This is my usual process as I find it way too difficult to just jump right in with a refined sketch, and I also think that it makes the drawing look more fluid and lively to first do a quick sketch of the pose before trying to refine it. I just find when I try to put in all the details of the drawing, it looks super stiff and unalive, so by doing this quick under sketch, it makes it look a lot nicer. I also find that it looks a lot nicer when you first draw the full body and then add clothes over top, because otherwise if you just go straight in with the clothes, you can lose some of the anatomy and it'll look kind of odd. And I have no idea why, but I spent so much time on the eyes just trying to make them look well. Once again, I have no idea why, but I spent forever, at least a solid hour, just on the face. Well, actually, I wonder if part of the reason why I was so focused on the face is because, Mulan is such an important character to me, and just the film in general is, one of my favorite animated films of all time. So because of that, I think since I have that more emotional connection with the character, subconsciously, it was a lot more important that I guess I made it so that she looked correct, or more like herself. At least this is what would make the most sense. Speaking of which, how many of you like the movie as well? I want to know what your opinions on it. Obviously, it's not a new movie. It came out in the 90s, but I would just like to know how many of you also like Mulan. Though I know the live action came out just recently, I haven't watched it yet just because I'm so scared that they ruined it. Because while I'm normally not an anti-live action remakes, they're never as good as the animated movies, so I'm always scared to rewatch them because I don't want them ruining my childhood. But if you have seen the live action remake, let me know in the comments what you thought of it and if it's worth watching. Anyways, getting back to the drawing, I've actually gotten started on the line art. I've already done the hands and the hair and the face, and even though I already spent forever sketching the face, I'm still going through and adjusting it during the line art. I don't know, I guess I just struggled a lot with trying to get it to look quote-unquote correct or like Mulan. Once again, I'm not really sure, but it was definitely a struggle. I even tried quickly putting down some colors next to the face to see if it would make a difference, but it just didn't do anything. Even though I wasn't satisfied with the face, I decided to just move on for now and to come back to it, so right now I am working on the clothes and just putting in the line art for that. Drawing the clothes was actually pretty simple and easy, so I didn't spend much time on that at all. I moved on to the sword, and once again, like the clothes, it was not that difficult and quite easy. And now I've gotten started on doing the line art for the background, and while the line art was pretty simple, later on I do try some effects with blurring in the town/village in the background, and that definitely took a lot more effort and time. Basically, my plan for like the village/city area in the background was I was going to draw out a bunch of just little boxes that are meant to represent buildings and just copy and paste it and then blur them in the background. But as I started to do this, I realized that it just did not look right. It looked overly crowded and just didn't have the effect I wanted. Before I made any major changes to the building, I first experimented with the lighting to see if that would make a difference. I spent a lot of time on trying to create this faded into the background look with the buildings, but I just didn't know how to do it. So actually my solution to my problem with the buildings was to just not have so many and make them a lot bigger, because I figured it would look a lot less crowded and far away. And while it's still not perfect, it definitely looks a lot better than what I had originally gone with. So now I'm just once again playing with the lighting in the background, trying to get it to look half decent. I took a quick break to just color in the building Mulan standing on, and then I went back to once again try and experiment with the lighting in the background. When I was finally satisfied, I continued working on the building, and honestly, I loved playing around with it so much for some reason. I'm not really sure why, but I just had a lot of fun experimenting with like the different wood textures and airbrush and shading just to try and get the wood-esque effect. So I'm basically just experimenting with the colors and different brushes that I had to try and get the cool wood effect that you see in the background of the original screen cap. I didn't spend as much time on this, but then I also went through afterwards and used the same effects on the teal/cyan part of the building. And finally, I am getting started on the coloring for Mulan herself. Now I'm just working on the white base that I usually do with coloring. I always do this so then when I go to put in the colors, I can alpha lock this base and I don't have to worry about the colors going outside the line. Also, Procreate's like bucket fill mode is not the greatest, so I spent forever just trying to make sure that I had all the lines closed in the line out so that I could easily fill it in with the weight. And eventually, I finally did get the bucket tool to work, so now I'm just going through and filling in all the colors. And you can't see it, but off screen I actually had another reference of Mulan, and that is because I couldn't easily get colors from the original reference photo since the lighting made all the colors a lot darker than they're supposed to be. So I was getting the colors for her from another reference. And I'm back at it again, constantly changing the eyes because I just could not get them to look right. Oh my god. Since the reference I was using was a bit weird and pixelated, I had to experiment with the skin for quite a bit. And now I am finally moving on to the shading and rendering and just the final touches of the piece. For this drawing, I really wanted to do a bunch of experimental shading and just play around with stuff I haven't done before. So I attempted to do this thing that I've seen done before where I start off with just normal cell shading, but I soften some of the edges to give it a more, I guess, 3D look. And honestly, I'm super happy with the effect it had on it. I don't know, I know it's just like a small detail, but I really think that one change added to the piece and made it feel a lot more alive. At this point, I am pretty much done the drawing.
Looks like you're out of ideas.
Not quite.
There you have it, the final picture, and I just want to recognize that I do know that my end outros where I edit everything are a little silly, but I honestly have so much fun with them, so I don't really care, so I'm gonna keep doing them. Anyways, I absolutely loved drawing this and showing it off to you guys in today's video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give a big thumbs up and comment down below if I should do more videos like these where I'm just redrawing a screen cap or some sort of fan art. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. Like, I genuinely appreciate every single one of you, and like, holy, thank you for 260 subscribers. Like, oh my god, that just happened. I mean, if you like this video, I'm sure you'll like these two on the side I have chosen for you right now. Anyways, remember to stay weird, and I will see you guys next time.